The biggest hurdle to overcome in putting an end to abortion seems to be softening the human heart. How do we reconcile change in the hearts of men and women? What loving steps should we take in transforming our neighbors' hearts so that they may actually choose life? And this is, again, Meredith from Charlotte, North Carolina. Another aspect of it, sometimes we can get ourselves so focused on the argument and the discussion and kind of the tussle that we have to remember that we do need to change people's hearts at the same time.
Yeah, Meredith, I'm just going to recommend this book because it's a big question. But in 10 Universal Principles, at the very end with the 10th principle, I talk about the 4 levels of happiness. And I think, there are a lot of really good human beings out there who really would respond to moving from level 3 to level from level 2 to level 3 and 4. And what I'm just going to give you the real brief explanation and then talk about the consequences of helping people to make that move, because I think you're right. A softening of the heart is what's required, but we can do this through a kind of logic. And if you look at the 4 levels, level 1 means that I'm finding my happiness and my meaning in life in terms of, physical stimulation and material well-being. So having a Mercedes-Benz with leather upholstery, or getting, lots of ice cream cones and bowls of linguine, that is what really is going to make a meaningful and happy life for me. Okay? The second level, and by the way, there are many people who are on that level in our culture. Secondly, there's what's called ego-comparative happiness. This is level 2. And what people there say is, so long as I have more success, more intelligence, more, promotions, more power, more control, more achievements than other people, or I'm just in that top 20%, I'm going to be happy and have a meaningful life. But if I don't, then I'm not going to be. Now the problem with this is it really does push us right to ego-comparative problems like jealousy, fear of failure, fear of loss of esteem, meaninglessness, and so forth. And we've talked about the 4 levels of happiness in this program before. Right. But the third level of happiness is where we want to move people, is the contributive view of happiness, as you described it through the word love. Yes, a more contributive view. In other words, instead of wanting to be better than everybody with our lives, level 2, or have more creature comforts in our lives, level 1, instead we decide we're going to want to make an optimal positive contribution to somebody or something beyond ourselves. So make an optimal contribution to our families, our friends, our church, the kingdom of God, the society, our workplace, our colleagues, and so forth. We decide we're going to really predicate our lives on making an optimal positive difference to them rather than being better than them or more successful than them, etc. The 4th level of happiness, as you might have guessed, is faith. So that is to say, we're transcendental human beings. We desire perfect truth, love, goodness, beauty, and being. We desire to be in perfect, in harmony with God. I don't know if you're familiar with that gal who just, she was a former atheist, Sally Reedy, who, you can read about her in the website there. She became a Catholic, a Roman Catholic, from a former strident atheist. And the reason she did was because she felt completely lonely and sleepless and, anxieties. I mean, the whole Kanita Dervick study, right? Increased, meaninglessness, depression, impulse aggressivity, familial tension, substance abuse, and suicide attempts. For all intents and purposes, she was so lonely for God. And when she submitted to God and accepted Him into her life, she discovered God not only existed, but she discovered He was love. And so she became a Catholic. But the point I'm trying to get to is, yes, we have this extreme, also this other extreme need for, not a transcendental life and a life of faith and a life in communion and harmony with God. Now the point is, there are techniques that can be used that are explained by this book to help people get out of the who's achieving more, who's achieving less, who's got more power, less power, more control, less control, more intelligence, less intelligence, more athleticism, less athleticism, etc. Well, there are techniques in this book that describe how to move people by what they're looking for in their lives, by how they're looking at other human beings, to use these techniques to move them from dominant level 1 and 2 meaning to level 3 and 4
Right.
meaning contributive and faith meanings. And if they do that, yes, everything in this book about the 10 universal principles is just going to become so much more apparent. It'll be just like that atheistic lady in Britain. She just comes around, she goes, I get the whole doctrine of the Catholic Church now.
Right.
Because
fits,
she makes
right?
that leap of faith. That's right.
And also,
so,
just before we go
that's
here, we're
yeah.
just out of time, Father, is
Yeah.
of course our Holy Father
Yeah.
in the year we just came out of Mercy. So much of when we talk about things like abortion and things like that, we're talking about healing and being open to people who obviously may have made mistakes in the past in their life, and we should accompany them on the way to finding the truth. And that's what we try and do in this show every week when we visit you in Father Spitzer's universe. Thank you so much, Father.